Hello, I'm Mydra Kelly, and welcome to People's Impact News, brought to you by the Baton Rouge Weekly Press. The Baton Rouge Weekly Press, also known as the People's Publication, has brought you your news through our weekly newspaper for 38 years, and now we are delighted to have this opportunity to come into your home. We will be sharing some of the news that you will have the opportunity to read about every week in our newspaper. More importantly, we will talk about the news from the people's perspective, telling your stories, voicing your concerns, and celebrating you. We want this to be your news, your way. This is news for the people, by the people, and about the people of this city, and the things that impact your lives and your world. From time to time, we will even be bringing you on to tell your own stories. But right now, I'm excited to be your host for today's segment. So let's see how the news has impacted the people of Baton Rouge and surrounding areas this week. Well, weather-wise, it's a beautiful day in the city. After some much-needed rain, hopefully everyone is feeling a bit more refreshed and blessed. Sunshine always makes everything better, right? First of all, I'd like to get started by informing you about what's been going on in our world on a national level. Last week marked the 50th year anniversary of the March on Washington. Several celebrations and activities were held, all in recognition of this historical event where the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his powerful and life-changing "I Have a Dream" speech.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia.
Wow, that was powerful. President Barack Obama commemorated the March on Washington with a speech addressing the state of our nation today in comparison to where we were 50 years ago when Dr. King gave this speech in the midst of the civil rights movement. The president described those involved in this movement by saying that they had every right to lash out in anger, and yet they chose a different path. In the face of hatred, they prayed for their tormentors. In the face of violence, they stood up and set in. While some may feel that Dr. King's dream has turned into a nightmare in the wake of so much violence and the battles surrounding issues such as the alleged racial profiling, like we saw in the Trayvon Martin murder, and the plight of ongoing random killings and drug-related issues, still Dr. King and many others opened a door to change, opportunity, and the realization that, as poet Maya Angelou wrote, we are still more alike than different. For many, the feelings surrounding the March of 1965 still seem to be as powerful today as they were then. Which leads me straight into our next story. Last month, August 6th, marked the 40th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The Voters' Rights Act, referred to by Congress as the single most effective piece of legislation ever passed, is the act that guarantees all equal rights to vote. In one of the commentaries in this week's newspaper, the issues of both the Voters' Rights Act and African American men being able to vote because of felony convictions is addressed. It's reported that 13% of African American men can't vote because they have been convicted of a felony. This means that 1 out of every 13 African American men don't have a vote. Yet many of these are for non-violent drug offenses. Now, in many states, this felony disenfranchised voting has strong influence in the Fair Voting Act. Fortunately, it does not appear that Louisiana is one of those states. It is also reported that Louisiana is not likely to see much immediate effect from the recent Voting Rights Act's decision. This report comes from The Lens. It was reported, according to the Sentencing Project of 2012, that Louisiana has only a 3.28% disenfranchisement. Louisiana is one of the 19 states that have a process by which voting rights can be restored after a term of incarceration, probation, and parole is completed. The impact of these new changes to the Voters' Rights Act would also appear to have little to no immediate impact on Baton Rouge and other Louisiana cities because we are under a specially covered area provision which prohibits any type of discrimination that would go against the 15th Amendment and or to be deemed as racially discriminating. On another note, Senators John McCain, Bob Corker, and John Barrasso were among the Republicans who voted yes on this past Wednesday in what could be called a sign of victory after the Senate's Foreign Relations Committee came together in their approval of the authorization of force against the Syrian regime. The committee was divided by a 10-7 vote, showing bipartisan support as to whether or not President Barack Obama should have the right to strike. The panel struggled deeply and was divided on how much force should be brought upon Syria for their use of chemical weapons, but they came to an agreement in the draft of this resolution. The approved resolution would limit the strikes to 60 days. It also reiterated that it is the policy of the United States to change the momentum on the battlefield in Syria, urging a comprehensive U.S. strategy to not only degrade the government's weapons of mass destruction, but to also improve the fighting abilities of the elements of the Syrian opposition. There goes those weapons of mass destruction again. Well, on that note, I think it's time for us to take a break. All right, moving right along. A little bit closer to home, Governor Bobby Jindal joined officials from the Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center along with LSU to mark the opening of the new LSU Urgent Care Health Center here in North Baton Rouge. The center is located on Airline Highway and will be a continuum of care as well as an emergency room alternative from other hospitals for the residents of Baton Rouge. It is also a part of the state's public-private hospital partnerships and a training resource to help future doctors throughout the state of Louisiana. This plan is an effort to address the $1.8 billion reduction handed down by Congress last year. These partnerships are proposed to save the millions of dollars that would have built a new Earl K. Long Hospital, which as we know was closed because it no longer met accreditation standards. This facility will offer around-the-clock care, and Governor Jindal says that it will provide better and more efficient care at an affordable price. Additionally, It will help to better educate the future doctors of our state while saving the taxpayers more than $125 million. So this sounds good. Let's see how it's going to work. Well, hopefully all of the kids have made it back to school by now, and so have their teachers. No matter what school a child attends, all children deserve teachers who care about them. Marian Wright Edelman says that teachers should not judge or stigmatize students based on where they come from. This is not to say that they do, but teachers should view all students as having an equal opportunity to learn and be able to teach them accordingly. You can read more about this in the article, if you like, that's in our newspaper this week. Now, I have some good news for Louisiana teachers, students, and their parents. Louisiana ranks 4th in the nation for empowering parents with school reforms. This is what we are all about, the empowerment of people, and we know that families impact us for the rest of our lives. There are a lot of mixed emotions on the charter school issue, but they seem to be having a positive effect on some of our kids. This particular report ranked Louisiana 4th for having strong charter laws, multiple charter authorizers, and no cap on the number of charter schools in the state. Now, a good way to get more information and learn what these charter schools are all about would be by attending the Louisiana Association of Charter Schools 6th Annual Conference. It's going to be held on Friday, September the 13th from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Baton Rouge Crown Plaza located at 4728 Constitution Avenue. If you want more information, just pick up a copy of the weekly press and you can get all of the details. And while we're on the subject of children and schools, as we go into our health segment, it is reported that one of the things that help our children to have better school performance is good nutrition. You remember that old saying, you are what you eat. Well, apparently this is true. It's been reported by the University of Illinois Extension, Nutrition, and Wellness educators that children who eat healthier meals may have better behavior in school. This means that they will be more prone to learning and doing better academically. So feed your kids a good, healthy meal, and hopefully it will help their teachers. And stay away from all of those sugary foods. Now, as another part of our health focus, health is really focusing and turning rapidly towards men. On last week, the Pennington Biomedical Research Center here in Baton Rouge hosted their 12th annual Men's Health Conference. There were speakers and screenings geared specifically toward men and the things that concern them. Our own Walter Dixon attended, and he told us that there was a huge turnout from all of these men. And we would like to encourage the men, and particularly black men, to continue to take care of themselves. It has been reported that African American men are more likely to get prostate cancer. Research conducted by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported that Louisiana ranked first in the nation per 100,000 men in prostate cancer incidences. This is an alarming number. This month, the month of September, is National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and we want you to be aware and to get checked. The Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center and the Our Lady of the Lake Hospital are both offering free screenings guides, so you have no excuses. So if you are 50 or older and have not been tested in the past 12 months, you're eligible for a screening. For more information, you can contact Scott Miller at 225-215-1290 or by emailing him at smiller@marybird.com. Take advantage of all of these screenings, men, please. We need you to be healthy so you can keep taking care of us. Okay, we often talk about the importance of taking care of ourselves physically, yet mental health is just as important. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, once again, 10% of American adults report depression. Now, these are small numbers, which probably means that a lot of it is not being reported because people aren't getting the help that they need. The people who suffer from depression most are included those between the ages of 45 and 54, women, blacks, and Hispanics. Men also fall into this range, and studies show that the key element in helping men through depression, black men in particular, is support. This includes family, friends, church, and sports activities, as well as support groups. Things such as shooting pool, playing basketball, going to the barbershop all act as effective support systems. So see, fellas, you can go and get your hair cut and talk about your significant other with your brothers and feel better for about 15 bucks. All right, while I have my... Okay, while I have the attention of my male viewers, how about what's going on in the sports world? It's football season. Everywhere, football is in the air. The Denver Broncos kicked off the NFL on Thursday night, playing the Super Bowl champions Baltimore Ravens, and the Ravens started out their season in defeat, unfortunately. The Broncos beat the Ravens in a great game by a score of 49-27, and Peyton Manning is apparently the guy to keep your eyes on this season. Now, as we look at sports here on the home front, the LSU Tigers offense passed their first game with flying colors as LSU's quarterback passing attack and running game against a top 20 team has given the Tiger fans a lot to look forward to this year. Southern University is breaking ground for expansion of their new baseball facilities. And by the way that the Jags started out their football season, falling to landslide defeat by Houston in a 62-13 loss, let's hope that the baseball is a great redemption for them. Well, forgive me, Jaguar fans, but on a brighter note, Baton Rouge's Live After 5 is getting ready for its kickoff Friday, September the 6th, beginning with the Baton Rouge Symphony Orchestra. This event, as all, will take place downtown in the square on North Boulevard. And it's free and open to the public every Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. So grab your sweetheart, put your red dress on, your dancing shoes, and get downtown and have some fun. Okay, if you're feeling financially confident and would like to look into investments, you might want to check out LinkedIn. The corporation is planning a $1 billion stock offer. The company plans to sell this Class A common stock as a means of expansion and upgrading of product development. So all of you investors, take a closer look at this article in this week's paper. Now, this week in our religious news, our columnist Donald Lee gives an excellent article on receiving your healing from cancer and other attacks on the body. So pick up your weekly press to check out this article, as well as to read the Church Ladies Report, as she dishes on all of the news in our Baton Rouge religious community. Look around for a fancy hat on Sunday mornings, because the church lady just might be at your church telling all of your business. All right, I know that lots of people have this thing about Friday the 13th. Well, I don't know about all of that, but if you want to do something to celebrate, we want to help you out. So that's why we have an idea for you. You want to go and celebrate Friday, September the 13th with Breck at the Bluebonnet Swamp and Nature Center. There will be all kinds of creepy crawly things there like snakes and spiders and such. So you won't be seeing me there, but if this is your thing, then the Nature Swamp Center is the place to be. Also, you want to check out the Cultural Connection exhibition in the Southern University Visual Arts Gallery located in Hayden Hall through October the 3rd. And if you'd like to know what else is going on around town, then pick up your weekly press and get all the news that you need to know. That's going to do it for me. Remember, there's a way to turn the worst news into something positive today, so watch what you say. Thanks so much for allowing me to share your news with you. Make an impact on your part of the world this coming week, and I'll see you next time on the People's Impact News.